Hi, welcome to the show today. I'm Ivory LaNoue, and today's topic is the significance of synchronicity. Before I get into that, I want to say hello to my listeners in Crown Point, Indiana. Thank you for tuning in. Great to have you here. Let's jump into this. What one person calls coincidence, another person would call synchronicity. So I think a lot of this really is about having come to a place with your spiritual journey, your spiritual growth, where you're open to possibilities, to things that are unexplained, to things that are beyond reason. And if you feel like you have to fit everything into a box, it will be very difficult for you to see synchronicity for what it is and not write it off as a weird coincidence, something odd. I did that for years. I've got a very logical mind and very grounded. And even as the psychic medium I am, I still would try to do that. And there's times I just couldn't, which actually broke through that part of me and let me stop being overly logical, because that can get in the way, especially if you want to communicate with your angels. I mean, if you want to logic your way around it, you're going to discount so much. But let's stick with synchronicity for right now. So what is synchronicity? It is experiences that seem far too significant to just be a serendipitous encounter. It isn't a coincidence because it's too crazy. It's too far beyond that. Some people might call them freak encounters or little miracles, signs from heaven, guidance from their angels and guides. But synchronicity does manifest in a wide variety of forms. Some of those are seeing and hearing meaningful names, numbers, words, or symbols, but often it's things happening to you and around you that there's just no way of rationally believing that that's just a coincidence. So synchronicities are incidents that have spiritual significance, and they ask us to at least momentarily dampen our self-obsession and consider the possibility of the divine, that it exists, it's speaking to us, it's evidencing it for us. Synchronicity experiences leave us with this curious sense that we should pay attention. And I think your angels give you that sense as well as your own intuition. Tune into it, believe it, go with that. Please understand that angels often use synchronicity as a form of a sign to you, particularly guardian angels, but you can receive synchronicity from your angels on a regular basis. I'm going to tell you about an example of synchronicity that happened to us at Sedona Soul Sisters. My business partner and I, the lady who rented our third room, had left, and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We really don't want to leave that room empty, but we were like, I just can't even imagine bringing somebody else in here. And Ross, my business partner, said, unless it was Terry Ann. And I'm like, Terry Ann, yes, she'd be good. And she goes, but she's not looking for a room. I'm like, oh, she would have been great. And so then not 2 days later, Roz gets a phone call from Terry Ann saying, do you know anybody who's renting out a room in Sedona where I could do my spiritual work? And Roz told her, yes, we do. And very shortly thereafter, Terry Ann was working with us, and she continued to till she left the area about 3.5 years later, and still a great friend. And that, it was interesting because she was led to us as she heard that she needed to come here. She heard she needed to do something with Roz. And it just was a perfect fit from day one. No problem, no drama, nothing. Definitely divinely guided. And had we not immediately seen that for the synchronicity it was, perhaps we wouldn't have latched on that opportunity as quickly as we did. But we felt like that was like almost an instant answer from the angels. Here, ladies, here's the perfect person for you, as you said. So there you go. It's not the only time. I'll tell you about some more. I've experienced a great deal of synchronicity in life, and it seems like the older I get, like that happens more frequently, more powerfully. Maybe I'm just more attuned to it. I agree with those who believe that synchronicity is sort of this powerful wink from the universe telling us that, yes, you're on the right track. It's also believed to be a form of guidance. It can be from your higher self, which is your soul. It can be from your angels and guides. It's a way of showing you where to go next, what to do next in your life as you're proceeding through your own spiritual awakening on your spiritual journey. In particular, it seems like synchronicity is experienced most commonly by those who choose to walk that inner path, which is self-transformation and enlightenment. Cannot be done without a lot of reflection on yourself, who you are, what you want to be, what you're not happy with, what you want to work on, all these things. Coming across a form of synchronicity can be a form of powerful confirmation. It can be a ray of guidance or a sign of hope when you're on a spiritual journey, when you've been working on something specific. It's like, yes, you're doing a good job. I want to tell you about some more specific instances of synchronicity. One is overhearing a group of strangers talk about something that is of great significance to your own life. I liken that to the angels injecting that into a conversation you will overhear because you need to hear the message. And they can be very clever with how they get the messages through to you. Watching episodes of your favorite TV shows that all somehow have the same underlying storyline or focus, and it pertains to you. Getting the exact message you need at the exact right time. When you're going through a difficult time, like a divorce, a depression, a betrayal, a major life change of any sort, and you hear, one for me was, I wrote about it in my book, and that is that I was coming to the end, trying to disconnect from this very abusive addict person I was involved with, who was very dark, but it just wasn't revealed to me until very late in the relationship. And I was feeling very hopeless, and I was stuck in a dark place. I was having definitely deep in a dark night of the soul. And though I had wonderful people trying to help me, my friend Brian, my parents, my daughter, trying to help me through, I had to crawl out of that myself. But I was in the shower and I was sobbing because I thought nobody would hear me in there. I was just sobbing. I just needed to release that buildup of emotion. And as I'm sobbing, I start singing this song. I'm the man who loves you inside and out. Well, first of all, I'm not a huge Bee Gees fan. Yes, I was a disco queen, but I'm not a huge Bee Gees fan. And I hadn't heard that song in a long time and certainly was not thinking of it. And I realized my master guide, I felt his energy so powerfully around me, and I started laughing. I went from sobbing to laughing because I'm like, he was like, I have to do something dramatic here to snap her out of this. And he put that song in my head, and it was such like a love song of pure unconditional love from my master guide to me. And it really just helped me. It did help me. It just lifted me up. My frequency went up, and I started moving forward and moving towards healing, moving towards getting out of that situation. So thank you, Sir Marius, because that was amazing. I'll never forget it. Another one is meeting the exact right person at the right time. Again, Terry Ann coming to us shortly, meeting her shortly before this happened, her calling for a room when we were just saying Terry Ann would be the only person we'd consider renting to. Seeing the same symbols or images repeated everywhere. It can be synchronicity, so don't write it off. Seeing the same time on the clock. Those are angel numbers, but they're also messages. And the synchronicity, one that I've been seeing, I'm still seeing it. I think I told you all, I've been seeing 444, like 32, 40 times a day. And I don't normally see 444. And so I looked it up on my favorite angel number site, which I always enter Angel Numbers Joanna Scribes. She's awesome. The angels love her site. And so I looked it up, and it was, you're doing the right thing. You did the right thing. You're on the right track. Keep doing what you're doing. And I needed to hear that. I had made some recent business changes, and I was a little nervous, a little apprehensive about some of it, but I needed to hear that. I continue to need to hear that now and then. So every time I see it, I just sort of point at it. And I'm thinking, angels, I see it. I'm getting it. Message received. It can be reoccurring signs that seem to lead you somewhere special, maybe to your ideal job or the home you've been looking for, a love relationship you've longed for. Hearing the same song repeated many times in unusual circumstances. So maybe you keep hearing a song on the radio that hasn't been on for years, and then you go to listen to live music and they play that song. It's just like, and then all of a sudden songs everywhere. Pay attention to the lyrics. What is it about the lyrics of that song or the name of that song that pertains to something going on in your life or in your head right now? Because there's a reason you're hearing this so often, or it's going around in your head. I'm a singer, professional singer, and I will get songs in my head that just come out of nowhere, and I realize I'm singing them out loud. Wasn't thinking about them. And then I can't stop, and it might go on for weeks that I'm singing, and I have to sit down. It's like, okay, again, what is it about this song? I need to know. What am I not paying attention to? It's not just a song popping into my head. There's a message hidden in here. Same is true for you. Strange alignments of birth dates between friends, partners, colleagues. I'm a Virgo. My birthday's August 28th. I have a friend whose birthday is the day before, another one whose birthday is 2 days later. It's like right around here, I've got family and friends in this within a week or week and a half of each other. I think there's a reason. I know Virgos are not the easiest people to be around, high standards and all of that. I get it. I'm working on it. But I think we flock together. I think we're drawn to each other in some ways. So I think there's some truth to this, and there's a reason why that person's in your life. Another one is thinking about something and then mysteriously having it happen. So here's an example of that. One of my favorites. I was singing with my band in Las Vegas, and we were going to go on next. And before they were setting up the stage, all the sound and light people were setting up the stage. And it was at a really large Renaissance event. And we had a sales booth that somebody was running for us, selling our CDs. Nobody else was set up around us when we got there. We left to go get a bite to eat, came back, and we were walking backstage, came around, and I was saying to my husband at the time, oh my gosh, I need a massage so bad. I wish I got one before we left. And we walked around and we looked over to our sales booth, and right next to our sales booth, who set up a booth? A local massage school. And they were setting up portable massage chairs and offering free shoulder and neck and back massages. I swear to you. My husband looked at me and he goes, you scare me with this. And I was so happy. I was just like gleeful, like, yay. So yes, I did go get myself a little mini massage shortly before I had to sing. But that's one example. I mean, it just happens again and again and again. And I'll try to guide it now, because I know that's so powerful. And I'll think, what would be wonderful if this happened? And it's like the best possible outcome. And then it happens. So, instead of worrying about the worst possible case, you could make that happen. Say, let's think about the best possible case, and let's let synchronicity unfold and make it true. Another thing is being in the right place at the right time. Opportunities can be extremely synchronistic. I had some crazy things happen. I happened to I got this email from a publishing company early in COVID saying, we've identified you as a great person to write a book on this topic. Are you interested? I thought about it, checked them out. They're legit. Yes. I had to send in some sample writing, and I saw myself getting this book deal. I saw this thing going through and how happy I would be. And darn, if that didn't happen, like I got a phone call, we've selected you. We need to move forward with this project. Boom, boom, boom. They haven't published the book yet because of COVID, but I got paid, which allowed me to self-publish a book I'd been writing before, Let Your Angels Lead. So that was synchronistic to have a way to get that money to self-publish. that I might not have had otherwise. So that was amazing. And I learned so much from that whole experience. So when opportunities are put in front of you like that, even if you're nervous, look into it, consider it strongly. Opportunities are put in front of you usually so that you can expand. Another thing is a way you can get synchronicity is dreaming about people, animals, places, and then seeing them repeatedly in real life. Has that ever happened to you? I'll be curious to hear. I know I have a very rich dream life. When I was a child, I called dreaming my other life because it's always been so realistic where I feel things touch me, I can smell things, there's wind in my face, I can feel the cold if it's cold in my dream. Like it's the same as being awake. And I remember particularly one Christmas when I woke up in the morning and there were no piles of packages at the bottom of the bed and I was crying and mom asked me why. I was 5. I said, "What happened to all my presents?" She goes, "They're downstairs under the tree." "No, the ones that were at the bottom of the bed." She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "In my other life, there was a whole pile of packages there." And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So, you know, we can have these vivid dreams. Sometimes these dreams are important. Sometimes things come true. Sometimes they show us what's going to happen. We may not like it, but it's good to be forewarned, right? Forewarned is forearmed, that old saying. So another one is seeing repeated symbols such as the infinity sign, a triangle, the tree of life, spirals, signs like that, symbols over and over and over. I encourage you, if that's happening, look it up and see what the significance is of that particular symbol. And then think about how that pertains to you, your life, a dilemma, a situation, a question, an opportunity, because it is your angels, the universe, your higher self trying to get a message through to you and help you through something. What's the difference between serendipity and synchronicity? That's a good question. Serendipity is when something good accidentally happens. For instance, you might need cash to pay for an unexpected vet bill, and you find some in your jacket pocket that you just put on. But synchronicity is not just one experience of good fortune. It's a string of events that seem to be highly symbolic and meaningful in nature. So the hits just keep coming, and it's just trying so hard to break through your consciousness, to break through barriers you have within you, to help you understand that they're giving you a clear message, they're giving you guidance. If serendipity, you liken that to breadcrumbs, synchronicity is the trail that leads you to a whole new destination. Many people see synchronicity as a lesson, an affirmation, or a message from life. One example of synchronicity is hearing the same name over and over again on books, on TV, on number plates and dreams, and later discovering that that name is a suburb where you finally find your dream home. So here we're back to Terry Ann again. I just started thinking about something that happened to her that brought her to us. She kept seeing the same 5 numbers, and I don't even remember what they are. And she's like, "What is this? Show me what it is." And she came to Sedona for the first time. And right in front of the building, our business, Sedona Soul Sisters, is in, there's a milepost sign. Want to guess what the 5 numbers are in the milepost sign? Yeah, exactly those 5 numbers. She took a picture of it, and when she was guided to come see us, she told us about it and showed us the picture. And I always thought that was a great example of synchronicity because she'd been seeing it and seeing it and seeing it and getting very frustrated because it meant nothing to her, but it was guiding her to something. It wasn't something she already knew. It was telling her, look out for these numbers. And she saw it so many times. Oh, I'm getting chills from the angels. She saw it so many times that when she finally saw it on the milepost marker, she recognized it instantly. That's why I like journals. So Hindus believe synchronicity is a manifestation of Brahman, or the fundamental connection of all living things within the universe. So that whole thing about we're all connected, everything's interconnected. Behavior economists would classify synchronicity as a form of confirmation bias. For example, if you're told to look for yellow cars, you'll start seeing a lot more of them than you initially thought existed. Quantum physicists attribute synchronicity to the non-local mind or the universal consciousness. Skeptics call synchronicity apophenia, or the practice of seeing connections and patterns in random and or meaningless data. Hey, I'm a skeptic by nature. I know that's funny to hear from me, but I am. And I get it. So until you're ready, until something is so powerful, you can no longer ignore it. Skeptics are going to be skeptics. They need to explore. They need to be shown at their own pace. Everyday spiritual people believe synchronicity is a sign from their higher self or soul. I know it's also often from the angels. Psychologists believe synchronicity comes from the unconscious mind and collective unconscious. So there's a lot of different beliefs out there. Believe what you want. My job is never to make you believe something, change your mind, convince you to believe what I believe. No, I present information, you process it, you figure out what feels right for you, and you go forward on your own journey at your own pace. That's the way it has to be. So what actually creates synchronicity? It's the unconscious mind. We get warning messages in our dreams, so why can't we get them in waking life as well? Because our unconscious mind influences a lot of our behavior, and at the same time can also communicate with us. Spiritual signs and omens or instances of synchronicity are the unconscious mind's way of giving us harmony of energy, because everything consists of tiny vibrating atoms. So when we talk about frequency or vibration, that's what we're talking about. Everything, the earth included, everything in the universe is tiny vibrating atoms, you and me included. So you can control your rate of frequency, your rate of vibration. Synchronicity could also be a manifestation of global environmental harmony, where the frequencies and vibrations of the moment sync together in perfect equilibrium or oneness, producing uncanny experiences. Law of attraction, that's a fun one. I do believe some of what they talk about for sure. I'm not an expert on law of attraction, but this theory states that good and bad events in life are caused by your thoughts and feelings. Thus, like attracts like, which possibly explains why synchronicity occurs. I do believe it's a lot about your frequency. If your frequency is high, you're more likely to bring goodness to you in all aspects of life. And if your frequency dips low, as it will from time to time, you're going to kind of attract some other things. Psychic abilities is another aspect here, because synchronicity is also thought to be a manifestation of psychic abilities, where we intuit that a certain person will call us or a significant event will befall us, and it does. It's just one psychic skill out of a number of them. So I'm not here to convince you, to make you think, oh, Ivory, she knows it all. I'm giving you information. Think about it, process it, see what makes sense for you, what resonates for you at this time. We all change constantly. What works for you in one stage of life will suddenly not work for you in another, because you have changed. And that's not a bad thing. It's about growth and transformation. And we have to allow that to happen if we want to grow spiritually too, because it's the only way to get there. Don't be afraid of it. Just roll with the changes. I want to thank you again for tuning in today. If I forgot to say it, I want to say hello to my listeners in Crown Point, Indiana again, because I'm not sure I said it at the beginning. But next Sunday, I'm going to be talking about what is a spiritual journey. Several people have requested this topic, and I apologize for not covering it earlier. Sometimes I've been doing this all so long that I forget. There's some basic things people need to know about so that they can move forward, so that they understand what we're talking about. So if you're more advanced on the journey, maybe you can add some comments on the YouTube channel episode to help people if you have thoughts on this. That will also be a pre-recorded show. And after that, hopefully be back to live. I will keep you updated on that. In the meantime, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.